Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to continue talking about the backup character question in Dungeons and Dragons. If you are asking your players to make a backup character, it is my humble opinion this is one of the strongest indicators that you're dealing with a bad dungeon master. And the reason we're talking about this is Seth Skorkowsky came on a Twitter post that I had done. You'll find a link for Seth Skorkowski's channel. You'll find a link for the Twitter exchange. You'll find a link for the playlist that this is part of. And you should watch the whole playlist to get full context. I think you can get context as we go forward here. But my supposition is that requiring a backup character is a powerful, powerful way that is being used by many dungeon masters today to insist that their table not progress to the new form of Dungeons and Dragons. So Dungeons and Dragons is dramatically changing. We just got Dungeons and Dragons literally just clicked to Lego, right? Which completely changed how miniatures are going to be used and how terrain is going to be used. The second 50 years of Dungeons and Dragons is going to look nothing like the first 50 years, except for people who sit at tables like Seth Skorkowski's, who are taking very extreme measures to make sure that no one at their table, not only does the Dungeons and Dragons that they're playing not change, and in Seth's case, literally the people he's playing with aren't changing. The specific he's playing with aren't changing. And then in addition to that, those people aren't changing. And that is because of what Seth Gorkowski is doing with the backup character. And so the backup character says, hey, your character's going to die, and I have made you make a backup character to ensure you that you as a player, nothing you create matters. All that matters at the table is what I write and my fun. And if you're invested in the identity that you've built for 9 months playing that character, when they die, you don't even get a single minute to mourn that character. You have an interchangeable piece of paper which ensures you and puts you in your place as a player to say, don't you dare grow, learn, change, transform, mourn, have any sorrow, emote. This is goblin chopping 1974 D&D, and nothing is allowed to change. And what I want to talk about today is how Seth is crafting this, right? So one of the things he said is in the Twitter feed, he's like, we play for fun at my table, and he's speaking for his players, right? And he really believes this, right? But what I think is, and what I really want to explain to you is, and this is a shocking, this happens constantly now. People are like, oh, I know why the people at my Dungeons and Dragons table are there. You do not know why the people at your Dungeons and Dragons table are there. They may be there to enjoy the narrative. They may be there to sit next to one person, to spend time with one person. They may be there to so that they're spend not spending time doing something else, right? Also, the reason that they sat down may have changed over the years or even since last session, right? And this is a powerful lie, in my humble opinion, that many DMs tell themselves. They're like that they know why the people who sit at their table sit at their table. And I can assure you, you don't know anything about why the people who sit at your table sit at your table. They all have their own distinct reasons, right? And this is why I'm so excited about Dungeons and Dragons is it's powerful and it is transformative, and we don't need to know why those people sit at the table, right? We need to show up, make sure that the table is running, and bring our narrative, which can be shredded by the dice and the players, right? And be in the slot to do the thing, right? And then trust that they can be unique, freestanding individuals. I would never speak for my players and say, oh, we play for fun. I very much assume that every single person sitting at my table is playing for a different reason. So this idea that we play for XYZ reason, like I don't believe for 1 minute that the people playing at Seth's table play for fun. I really do believe that many of them are there because they realize Seth has built a global platform and they want to be part of that global platform. And they are discussed in most of his videos, right? Like, so they have a part of his celebrity. And the fact that he doesn't even acknowledge that is incredibly like self unaware, right? And the reason why I'm talking about this is a major problem. This has to end. No DM should ever ask for a backup character ever again. The other thing is you control everything. You as a dungeon master, you control everything. Every single thing. Don't touch the player character. Let them decide if they want to make a backup character. Let them decide what they're going to do with their character. It's the one area that you don't control. But again, Seth is like, I'm the dungeon master. The only thing I don't control is your character. Now let me get involved in your character and make sure that you make up a backup to tell you right now that your initial work didn't matter and your second work it didn't matter because all it is an interchangeable piece of paper. And I want you to understand that you don't matter at this table. He's communicating that at the start, right? And the reason his players don't leave him is they're part of a global platform, not because they're fun or care about the narrative, right? Like, and that, and he's completely unaware of this. And so I think that's fascinating. And we have to end this backup character issue. No dungeon master should ever ask for a backup character. And if you get a dungeon master who asks you for a backup character, run for the hills. That is not a good dungeon master. Now, if you decide to play, I get it because we all play for different reasons. And I want you to understand that you have no idea why anyone is sitting at your table. So I think that's very important to understand. Um, yeah, and so this idea that we know why the people sit at our table is ludicrous. And also, just understand people have very unique perspectives, they change. There was one more thing. There's this issue of consent. People have said, "Oh, well, if I tell you that you have to have a backup character to begin with, and we can begin play, that's on you because you were told at the start what this game was going to be." No, man, and this is why I don't do session zero, right? All that stuff, any agreements you made at the start can change because the game changes. Because Dungeons and Dragons campaign changes and we change and the dungeon master changes and the narrative changes. And to say, oh, we all made an agreement at session zero again is this pathetic attempt to lock D&D down and not let D&D be what it is, which is a dragon itself, able to go in any direction at any time, right? And things change. But Seth's like, I'm going to make so many assumptions and take so many actions to make sure that D&D doesn't change, that I don't change, and no one at my table changes. And this is the point. The first 50 years is about Dungeons and Dragons. We're static. The second 50 years is going to be dynamic. If we can displace these bad methods being used by people like Seth Skorkowsky and disconnect it. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to your humble opinion. When you get in the comments, send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing and have a fetch millennium.